Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, so much new NBA 2K23 news just dropped, and I gotta say, so much to the point where I'm not even gonna make one single video on this and cram it all into one vid. I must say, there are so many things that they touched on in this video, and we're gonna start with just the badges. As you can see by the title of today's video, this is what this is about. So, the badges, builds, and takeovers. I will say though, I'm gonna be scattering probably 2 to 3 different videos every single day for the next 3 days. Just talking on all types of different topics to talk about as I digest more of it. But I wanted to talk about this stuff first and foremost because it's what popped out to me the absolute most. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all the good stuff, and like always, try 1 to 500 likes. So we will come back to all this stuff at the top in a second here. You're going to see they're going to talk about certain things like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, like 4 of them for each, or as you can see, 8 in tier 1, and then 4 in tier 2, 4 in tier 3. So I'll come back to that stuff in a second. I want to talk about the additions and the removals of the badges. Alright, so we're going to go from top to bottom, just go from finishing, shooting, playmaking, and defense, and so on and so forth. And then, like I said, we'll come back up to the whole tier perks and stuff like that and explain all of that as well. But anyway, what I was really kind of curious and what stood out to me the most was the fact that things like Slithery and Ariel Wizard, these are badges that feel like they're already either in the game or combined multiple different badges into one. And they only removed Hook Specialist as far as a badge that is shown and said was removed. Now, here's the thing. You look at Ariel Wizard, it says ability to successfully complete alley-oops and putbacks. That sounds like Lob City Finisher and Putback Boss literally tied into one badge. You have things like Slithery, makes it easier to gather through traffic. Sounds like Acrobat to me. Avoids collisions, sounds like Slithery Finisher to me. And then Strips, sounds like Unstrippable to me. So it seems as if they've bundled a lot of badges into one to make it a sort of great value type thing, where if you are only able to unlock them in, like I said, the tier perks and stuff like that, maybe it makes it more worthy of having something like Slithery and makes it so you will just have things like Unstrippable and Acrobat tied in as one badge. Because obviously people don't really care about Unstrippable and Acrobat very much in the past. They're just going to be like, oh, I want my Slithery Finisher, my Posterizer, and my Limitless Takeoff. Give me those 3 badges. I don't care about anything else. Simple as that. And with this, it sounds like they're going to tie it all into one. That's at least my first impression. But then you have badges like Masher. This is, in my opinion, kind of just Mouse in the House recreated. It says increased ability to finish inside layups over defenders. To me, this sounds like a height-based one where the taller you are, the better this badge will be. Again, seems like Mouse in the House to an extent. I don't know if this is for driving layups. I don't know if this is for standing layups. I'm not going to sit here and say this is good for the game because, to be honest with you, that's kind of the mashing was the problem of this game. The tall centers of just literally being uncontestable in the dead zone of the paint. It wasn't exactly good. I'll just put it like that. I would say it was pretty bad for the game, to be honest. We already talked about Ariel Wizard, like I said, alley-oops and putbacks. Bully, this is one that it sounds pretty toxic too. Like Giannis and LeBron, able to finish strong by bulldozing through traffic. This sounds a lot to me like 2K20, long athlete, fancy footwork, hop step dunks. Like just being able to just mash right through somebody, right through their face, put your elbow right in their mouth, pause, and literally just dominate them. Now, I will say this is obviously tied to some sort of attribute caps of some sort. Like you're probably going to need a certain amount of driving dunk, certain amount of driving layup. I think it'd be cool if they also added a certain amount of strength that was required for this too, which seems pretty logical as well. And like I said, remove badge, Hook Specialist. To get into the shooting category, we have Agent 3, ability to hit difficult 3-point shots off the dribble. Now, 2K's definition of off the dribble has always been fading, but to be fair, I've always given them the benefit of the doubt and assumed that maybe it could mean for putting the ball on the ground. Every single year going into 2K, I think that's a possibility. Then they just make it so it fades. I'll just put it like that. So this could literally just be for fading 3-pointers. I don't think fading 3s are good for the game either. We've seen that a lot in this year where fades just make it so defense is always chasing the ball handler. Always, always, always. Never in control. The point guard is always in the dominant role and just gives people problems because they have to chase them so hard for their 3-point fades. But anyway, I won't give any sort of certain judgments or anything like that beforehand. We're going to have to get our hands on the game to really know if this badge is going to be super dominant or OP by any means. But moving along, we have Midi Magician. This is pretty much like post fades and just regular mid-range jumpers, or it says off the bounce. So I guess, again, more of a fading or off the dribble type thing, and combined with the post fades. So pretty much fade ace taken out. I don't think they even mentioned it in here as a badge that was removed. So like I said, if they're combining certain badges together, just assume that probably means that fade ace is not in the game. But anyway, moving along, we have Amped. This is actually a pretty interesting badge. I think a lot of people are going to love this one. So in 2K, we have this penalty for shooters who have either over dribbled or are really low on stamina. This right here is also Tireless Shooter combined with a new sort of badge where it's going to prevent the moving excessively part to penalize you. So again, reduces the shooting penalty when fatigued and when moving excessively prior to shooting. So very good for the over dribblers, the spam heads, the dudes who are going to be dribbling the air out of the ball for 24 seconds before the shot clock goes out. We all know how that's going to go. But anyway, very good badge. It's probably going to be a very high in the tier list sort of situation, and it makes a lot of sense. Claymore improves a spot-up shooter's ability to knock down catch-and-shoot jumpers the longer they remain stationary prior to shooting. Once again, is pretty much set shooter, to be honest. So I don't know, man. I mean, it says that they just removed like set shooter, sniper, and limitless spot up, and then to my knowledge, it pretty much means that Chef, Hot Zone Hunter, Lucky 7, and Mismatch Expert are moved over to the playmaking category, which is so weird. But anyway, again, Claymore, pretty much set shooter, in my opinion. Comeback Kid, improved ability to shoot perimeter jumpers when trailing in a game. Once again, kind of just clutch shooter. So a lot of just like name changes, to be honest, but who knows, maybe they're just trying to give it a new spark and give it new life, because people are going to just judge set shooter and clutch shooter all over the place and not give it the the time of day. But maybe with a new name they will. Now this badge right here is pretty interesting, so I have to assume this is tied to their jump shot contest system, where some people like to get the ghost contest, right, where you don't put your hands up, you pretty much just stand right in their face. It was actually, I would say, a lot of Lockdown's method in Pro-Am this year to not have to put their hands up, because the animation takes pretty long, to be honest with you. And not only that, you move slower if your hands are up. You also just kind of like give yourself up a little bit, because then if they don't shoot the ball when you do have your hands up, again, you're moving slower, so it's harder to really recover off of that. And playing with your hands up is just a little bit harder sometimes. It does make you more bumpy, but either way. Anyway, hand down, man down makes an outside shooter even deadlier if opponents fail to get a hand up in their face. So this really stops a lot of the ghost contesters, I would assume. Now, we still have to see if this badge is actually good. Sometimes badges just aren't good, even though they sound like they're going to be really dominant or really tough to deal with. And, new badges, new mechanics, we never know how it's going to work. So that's just my opinion. Again, Space Creator, formerly a playmaking badge, and now boosts the ability to hit step back jumpers and hop shots, and will also cause defenders yada yada. Same old badge. It's just a shooting badge, now a playmaking, or from the playmaking. You get what I'm saying. But anyway, Limitless Range, an old favorite, returns, making shooters more effectively with any shot attempt from deep 3-point range. So they just combined, again, Chef and Limitless Spot Up into one badge. It makes sense, honestly. I think a lot of people were confused about the whole Chef and Limitless Spot Up and how it works, how long you have to wait before it counts as a Limitless Spot Up if it's off catch and shoot, or if how long you have to stand still for it to count as Limitless Spot Up if you are doing it off a dribble. It's all a bunch of stupid stuff. I'm honestly kind of glad they moved it into Limitless Range, but it is more convenient for shooters and it gives more bias to the shooting badge. The thing with this, I would say you have less inflation, honestly. Like, the thing with the shooting badges is if you're going to have to combine Chef and Limitless Spot Up, which rarely anybody did for that matter, it's not like they were great badges for the most part, to be honest with you. You were kind of in one realm or the other. Like, if you were a point guard, Chef all the way. If you were like a shooting guard, maybe Limitless Spot Up is on like Gold, Hall of Fame, who knows. But anyway, this makes it a lot easier on people with shooting badges. Like, it's only 4 to run this on the max level, if it works the same way, who knows. But by the old logic, one Hall of Fame Limitless Range is way less cost than running Hall of Fame Chef and Hall of Fame Limitless Spot Up. But to the tier thing, I would assume that that's going to be a different system, but we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, playmaking. Killer combos improves the dribbler's effectiveness with size up dribble moves, basically a combination of last year's quick chain and tight handles badge. I wish they would have put this I wish they would have put this explanation right here for a lot of badges, because that's really what a lot of these things should be. But anyway, like I said, improves the dribbler's effectiveness with size up dribble moves. Again, I mean, you're combining 2 extremely good badges into one. So I don't like this news, to be honest with you, as someone who thinks defense needed a buff this year, but we are still going to wait to get to the defensive badges as well, which there are a couple that are pretty interesting as well. But anyway, I don't think this is great for the game to be able to combine quick chain and tight handles into one badge, because once again, you're just kind of making it so point guards need less badge requirements to be able to be a really good playmaker. It's really as simple as that. But anyway, moving forward, we have Clamp Breaker. This is kind of stupid, if you ask me. I don't think that there should be a counter to a defensive badge. I think Clamp should be literally the counter to a playmaking badge. But anyway, Clamp Breaker helps ball handlers win more one-on-one body bump confrontations, so you won't get bumped up by people's clamps as much. I don't know, man. This is sounding very dominant to the offensive end. I'm not liking it from a defender's perspective, but again, I don't want to be too biased. I think a lot of point guards are out here hearing this and they love it. So we'll just keep it as simple as that. Vice grip. Improves ball security immediately after securing a rebound. I gotta say, this is so nice to hear for a big man. I hope they give it to bigs because it does say great badge for bigs. I understand that, but I'm very curious what the ball handling requirement is going to be. That's so interesting for me because a lot of these 7-3s are the dudes who are snagging the boards, and I'm not gonna lie, it's actually kind of a good balance, to be honest, when the 7-3s are a little clunky. Like, it's a good thing that they get ripped a little bit more. And if this is the thing that creates that separation where undersized bigs are a little bit more coordinated with their rebounds and coordinated with the ball, and then like super tall bigs don't have this as much, I think that'd actually be kind of cool. Mismatch expert, like they mentioned, is now a playmaking badge. I think it's probably the same old thing, you know, like, you know, if you're shorter, boom, you can, wait, oh, hold on, let me actually read this. Formerly a shooting badge, this badge now helps smaller guards break down their taller defenders when mismatched one-on-one. Okay, so I lied. I kind of assumed this was just going to be the same old thing as the shooting badge. So this is actually, oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. This is going to be something that absolutely makes it tougher for taller bigs to defend guards. This is actually a really interesting badge, and I think this is good for the height gap, if you will. We already talked about this in the last video that I actually uploaded. It was probably like a week or so ago, where I was talking about the center meta and how you can never just assume certain things about gameplay, because this badge, for all we know, if it's extremely good, might actually make it so tall bigs are just not good. Now, in Pro-Am, people stick their tall bigs in the corner so they don't have to deal with the pick and roll stuff most times. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. I think it all really comes down to rebounding and shot blocking and paint defense and stuff like that. But this definitely means a lot for 2v2 and 3v3. I will say, if this badge is really good, oh, it's going to be a tough time. It's going to be a very pick and roll heavy game on that 2v2 court. And I will say that's actually kind of interesting too, and kind of good. But also it could just mean that undersized bigs are the extreme meta on 2s and 3s as well. But anyway, remove badges. I actually read this tweet pop up on my phone as I'm recording this. Bullet passer has been removed, and now pass speed is based on your pass accuracy rating. I think that's actually pretty good. I don't think you should have to reach thresholds to just be able to cheese this, and I think there should be more to it as a passer than to literally just achieve 85 pass accuracy and that's it, or like, you know, all the way up to the max. But for most people, 85 or all the way in was the only way you go about it. I don't think there's really any point to doing anything more than that. So I do like that pass accuracy is now the definitive thing that's going to control pass speed. I think that's really good. Downhill has been removed. Not exactly sure why, to be honest. I guess people just thought it was a really bad badge. Stop and go, been removed. I'm guessing they're just going to rely on their dribbling system to be more doable. And then glue hands has been removed. I don't know if this is a good idea. I actually kind of prefer for this to maybe still be in the game, to be honest. But anyway, moving on to the defensive, and I gotta say the takeover situation, really interesting. We'll probably group that in with this video as well. I know it's gonna be a little bit loaded, but either way, like I said, we're here to talk about all the news and stuff, but we're not gonna be talking about all of it. Anyway, defense, we have anchor. This is gonna be more of a big man badge right here, a crucial badge for the last line of defense bigs. Improves ability to block and contest shots in the paint. So pretty much combined Intimidator and Rim Protector. I mean, that's literally as simple as that. And it pretty much is Rim Protector if you ask me. I mean, that's literally what it sounds like. Boxout Beast helps rebounders win box-out battles on both offensive and defensive rebounding situations. Once again, renamed Box, literally as simple as that. Workhorse, the Pat Bev badge that boosts your ability to hustle down 50-50 balls and play hard-nosed defense without getting tired. Interesting. Very interesting. This is like the Menace badge if it was actually good. But not what Menace last year is really good for. I just mean, like, it makes you sound like you're going to be a menace on the court. And that is what the Pat Bev badge really means. So anyway, moving along. Glove. This is obviously going to be due to something with like stealing the ball. Named after the legendary defender Gary Payton. Helps you strip players as they gather for shots and poke the ball free from ball handlers. So interesting aspect. I guess I wonder if shots is really gonna be a thing. Like if people literally can like strip the ball out as a jump shot is going up, that'd be super interesting. But you might see some more 4-point plays off of that if that is the case. And not to mention, this is obviously gonna be good for like the layup strips and stuff like that as well. So definitely, it's just ball stripper pretty much with a new aspect tied to it, if that is going to be something that's going to be tied to the jump shots and stuff like that. So then we have this next badge. This is going to be the outside form of Intimidator. Improves the effectiveness of perimeter jump shot contests. So I'm very glad that Intimidator is no longer tied to equal badges. I think it's really stupid the fact that 7'3" centers can have Hall of Fame Intimidator and it just boosts their perimeter defense based off of just that, like their shot contest ability. And as we know, Intimidator got kind of reworked mid-year into, it was just an interior defense badge, but mid-year it got reworked into one that works on the perimeter and the interior. So I'm really glad to know that they're actually going to separate these two badges, and now Challenger is going to be one that lockdowns have. So when I'm hearing a lot of this like playmaking, shooting, and defense recap of the badges, they're going to really punish tall bigs for being involved in guarding smaller guards. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to nerf bigs into the ground in Pro-Am, because a lot of these guys are just sitting in the corner playing rebound defense and just crashing off the corner there for rotations and stuff. But this does mean for 3v3 and 2v2, in my opinion, if I had to give an early impression, this is going to nuke bigs into the ground. I mean, like, all this information sounds really, really tough. What's up, dope? But anyway, moving along. They removed defensive leader. So that's another aspect of things too. I don't know why they really did that or why they would do that, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of dumb. But anyway, we have a lot of things to talk about with the takeover. I want to talk about what I read into this, and we'll go ahead and just kind of recap and highlight the parts that are really worth talking about for takeover. But this right here is what I was really looking into. Okay, so as I read a little bit more, actually all this information is very important to talk about. So I'm just going to break it into two different parts. I think the highlighted part is one thing that's worth talking about, then comma, put it into the next one. So in the last couple of versions, a player would activate Team Takeover for the entire team if you save up your meter long enough and make everybody hot after filling up the primary, secondary, and then the Team Takeover meter in sequential order. So long story short, we all know how Team Takeover has worked. You're going to save up all the way and you can benefit your whole team. For 2K23, Team Takeover works as a cooperative team effort with the system and with the entire team sharing a single meter. Each player on the team has an equal portion that they're responsible for filling up, performing well on the court, and being good teammates. So obviously, yada yada, we get it. It's pretty much no longer a single aspect of things. And if you want to save up for Team Takeover, you have to do it collectively and together. What's really funny to me is this feels like it's jacked straight out of Rock Band or Guitar Hero, where it's like the star power, if anybody feels me. That's a deep cut. Not a lot of you guys are going to know about that. That's for the old heads out there. But anyway, it sounds like some star power stuff where you have to save up with your whole team and then boom, you light that guitar up. But anyway, honestly, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a really nice little adjustment right there. I want to come back up really quick to the top to talk about pretty much the tier perks and stuff like that. Okay, so I gotta say, this is really the coolest information of it all. So this is actually straight out of one of my tier list videos of ranking badges. I actually mentioned this and I was hoping 2K was listening. I'm not sure if maybe they heard straight from my voice. I'm not positive, but we've had a couple cases like this where I call out one thing that could use a change and they actually do it. And obviously I have logo and stuff like that too, so they do, like, you know, hear and listen in on stuff that I have to say. But this is really cool. I was mentioning that things like Acrobat, nobody runs Acrobat. Everybody hates it. And no comp slasher, no comp dude with their finishing badge is going to put Acrobat on. Alright, so the best example of this is to load up one of my own shooting badge tier list videos. So I was talking about Circus 3s, Blinders, Deadeye, Sniper. Extremely overpowered badges, by far the best ones in the game. It's almost ridiculous that a badge like Sniper, which is so dominant, only costs 5 badges to run on Hall of Fame, like 5 badge points, yet there could be things like Rhythm Shooter and Slippery Offball that cost you 6. It was ridiculous. It was really stupid, in my opinion. So I gotta say, that's really cool information from them. We're gonna get back to that real quick, but I just wanted to finalize my point on this and talk about how it's really cool they're gonna limit which ones you run in that S tier range or A tier range. Maybe S and A are combined, we'll see. Obviously, there could be some good budget ones where maybe 2K puts them as a tier 1 badge that's going to be super easy to run, yet it's really, really good, so it's going to be one that you 100% want to run in your tier 1. And then there's ones in the tier 3 where, you know, you're going to have to be a little bit more selective of. But anyway, we'll get back to the article. So again, to come back to what they said right here, we noticed that players often gravitated toward the same badges and as a result became a little overpowered by stacking certain badges together. This year, we're moving to a tiered badge system. There are 16 badges per attribute category, 8 in tier 1, 4 in tier 2, and 4 in tier 3. Tier 1 badges are the least powerful for your player, so it's really cool that they can kind of acknowledge the fact that they know some badges aren't as good, but it's really cool for like certain play styles. So again, acrobat style of play. Not a lot of people do that. They're likely going to be in the tier 1 where it's going to be really easy to run. As you can see, these badges are the least powerful for your player, but also cost the least amount of badge points. Costs go up the more you climb the tiers and acquire the more impactful badges. I love that. It's straight out of my video. I'll have to find that clip another time and literally take the audio. And I'll never ever sit here and be like, oh, 2K, like someone will probably be like, oh, you're putting 2K on game for free. I don't care. I'm not out here to leech some money off some ideas. They can have the same idea. It's just I kind of vocalized it. And if they like leech that, I don't care. More power to them. That's really cool for me that I feel like I literally spoke that into existence. Now, I don't know, again, maybe I'm getting a little too ego right here to think that they actually took this straight from my idea. But again, hey, I mean, great minds think alike if they didn't really take it from me. Anyway, the basic idea is that you'll need to equip a certain number of badges in the lower tiers before you can equip badges in the highest. So I love that just topic right there and how good that is for the game. It's going to be so great. I'm really curious how it's going to impact tier lists and stuff like that too, but oh well, that's me thinking selfishly in my content. But honestly, I really don't know, because we're gonna have to start ranking certain like tiers and the importance of the badge and valuing badges more too. Like the ones that have really low value, those could be really stacked up and become important, honestly. And as you can see, they kind of, we'll talk about the same exact thing right here. It's gonna be pretty straightforward. But anyway, that is all for the badges. We're going to be talking about all types of different stuff, like the builds, the takeover we already talked about too, but we're going to be maybe breaking down certain segments into different videos and stuff. I want to do a very detailed topic on like finishing, shooting, playmaking, and defense, and just dive into them individually and talk about anything to do with the dribbling system and yada yada for like playmaking and how that's going to impact the game. But with this video right here, I just wanted to talk about all of it overall and just talk about just straight up the badges and nothing else. Nothing with the gameplay, nothing with that. Just the badges, the additions, the removals, the takeover system, and now the new actual tiering of the badges as well. So that's really cool. Anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, tell them noties, all that good stuff. Like always, try one to 500 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put badge in the comments so it supports me all the way through. But anyway, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned for more, man. I'm so serious. We're gonna get straight into some of this new stuff as well. You can probably hear I am losing my voice like crazy. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. And other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.